everybody, and welcome to the final British Touring Car race review with myself and Ben. Say hello.
Hello.
And we're going to be covering the finale of the championship at Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit. We're going to jump into this one pretty quickly. There is a few things to mention. First and foremost, that we do have a British Touring Car playlist, so if you've missed any of our previous race reviews all year, you can find them there. But just quickly mention a few things that are part of this weekend. So, James Gornall made a return on the final weekend of the year to replace Jack Butel at Team Hard. Motorbase Performance changed their name to become Alliance Racing, as the team is supposedly entering a new era going forward. Obviously, it's the final showdown between Tom Ingram and Ash Sutton. Sutton coming into the weekend with a 45-point buffer, and more crucially, it's his championship to lose. The tyre choice was a free-for-all, so you can pick either the softs or the mediums for the weekend, but you have to use both. And many of the other championships are yet to be decided, including some of these support championships, meaning everything was on the line regarding whichever race series it was, whether it's British Touring Cars, Minis, Formula 4, etc. Moving into qualifying though, we saw a red flag after only 9 minutes due to damage to the tyre wall caused by George Gamble, who went in backwards at heavy speed, which damaged the car badly. Luckily, he was able to get back to the pits, but it wasn't the start to the weekend that he needed. With everything to lose, Sutton was pushing like crazy with Ingram and the Toyota and Butcher pushing him all the way, but in the end, it wasn't enough, as Sutton took his 6th pole of the year, a record equaling statistic alongside James Thompson back in 2003, which was a mighty effort, just to show how quick that Ford was. So your pole time was a 1:29.823 from Rory Butcher in second, about a quarter of a second back, and Ingram in third, about 0.3 of a second back. So moving into race 1 then, we saw a great start by Sutton, with Ingram getting past Butcher for second place and even challenging Sutton for the lead at the start, but having to back out as he couldn't get alongside him. It was a clean first lap by everyone, with a few people swapping places throughout the field. Lap 3 saw Dan Lloyd drop behind Tom Chilton. He then dropped behind George Gamble, who was trying to get up the field, after the bad qualifying, as I mentioned previously. Lap 5 saw Bobby Thompson try and take on Butcher for third place, which saw Thompson get up the inside of Butcher. However, one corner later saw Butcher come back at him. Not to be outdone though, we saw Thompson hold it around the outside before going wide and losing the place to Butcher again. Meanwhile, further back, we saw Ford versus BMW as the Napa Fords of Dan Camish and Dan Rowbottom took on Turkington and Hill. This was crucial as it was all to play for in the manufacturer's title race. With the BMWs battling each other, it allowed Camish to jump Hill, who he himself got overtook by Turkington before this. Thompson, meanwhile, caught back up to Butcher and before long was putting pressure on him for third once again. Lap 8 saw Butcher go flying off the road, dropping down the order, for pitting for repairs as what looked like a puncture put him out of the race. He did rejoin, but obviously further down the order. On the following lap, we saw Sam Osborne put a great move on Ronan Pearson for 19th place. 2 laps after that, we saw Adam Morgan get pushed down 2 places as Jelly moved ahead, and because he went wide, it allowed Ricky Collard to get past him as well. 1 lap later, and Turkington finally got past Dan Rowbottom for 4th place, but all eyes were on the cars behind as Mikey Doble went out due to contact with Stephen Jelly, and it more crucially brought out the safety car, which meant that the title race was either going to be over or it was going to carry into race 2. Once the safety car came in, we saw Ingram immediately attacking, tried to get past Sutton, but time was running out and Ingram knew it. He tried everything and anything to get past him at every corner by attacking Sutton, but just wasn't able to do it. And try as he might, Ingram gave it everything he could, but nothing could stop Ash Sutton from winning the race or his 4th BTCC title. He wrapped it up with 2 races to spare, and further back we saw Bobby Thompson hold off Colin Turkington to give Team Hard another podium. So your race 1 results were as follows. Ash Sutton was your race winner along with the fastest lap and also the 2023 champion. Tom Ingram was 2nd with Bobby Thompson in 3rd. Then we had Turkington in 4th, Camish 5th, Hill 6th, Rowbottom 7th, Jelly 8th, Ricky Collard in 9th, and Adam Morgan rounded out the top 10. So the championship wrapped up. All eyes were on race 2 to see what Sutton could do. So over to you for race 2, Ben.
Yeah, so for race 2, I think the only thing left that could be sort of taken now was the Jack Sears. And it was basically Watson, Fink, Osborne were the key 2 people really at this point who stood a fair chance on that. Watson basically just had to more or less just, I think, finish the race and he would have it. So going into race 2, with that on the line, Sutton looked really ready on the grid. Ingram still looked ready to give him a fair old good chase. And then all of a sudden, lights gone. Sutton got a great start. Ingram managed to catch up. And then all of a sudden, you see just past the hairpin, there's drama going on. A couple of cars going all over the place, and crazy to see. It was caused by Turkington. He got blocked by Ingram, and this then caused him to fall slowly back the grid. I think he got tapped by Thompson, and that tap broke his suspension. This caused him to fall down even further, and as everybody's passing him just after the hairpin going down the hill, he a couple of them managed to avoid him, but then all of a sudden out of nowhere, Pearson sees a BMW in front of him, and it's Turkington, hits him. This then causes Turkington to go out completely because his car's fully gone at this point, even though it pretty much wasn't then anywhere. This all of a sudden throws Pearson into Creasy, who then gets taken out as well. And at this point, you have 3 cars split up all over the circuit, and this brings out the safety car. So on lap 4, the safety car went back in at the end of the lap. Sutton got ready, and corner before the main corner to the last straight, he goes for it, gets a nice old lead, and carries on into lap 5. Camish and Thompson seem to be having a really good battle. Camish managed to get past Thompson with a really nice overtake on the inside. It was great to see. You could tell he set it up perfectly going downhill, just went straight past him into the hairpin and just held it through. On lap 6, Hill gets past Thompson with a really nice, easy overtake. He just went straight past him, no question about it. Lap 7, Sutton is starting to build a lead over Ingram. At this point, I think it was about 1.5 seconds. At lap 8, Watson seems to be taking it carefully, as he just needs to finish the race. It looks like he's backing off a bit, or it could be that he had a problem. On lap 10, Taylor Smith runs wide, he gets hit, there's bodywork everywhere. He still seems to carry on, but he is off the pace at this point. Lap 11, Thompson has Cook bearing down on him, with Rowbottom and Jelly really not far behind Cook either, so it seems like it could be like an easy 4-way battle going on here if it all goes well. Lap 13, Edwards has a really good battle with De Leon. She doesn't have much speed on the straights, which has been the problem all year for that car, but she seems to be just making it up through the corner, so it's really nice to see him going back and forth. Lap 14, Osborne has a battle with Gornell, but at the end of the straight, and then they were tapping each other, and then all of a sudden, instantly Osborne comes off from just bouncing off Gornell, goes straight off, bounces into the barriers, the back end of the car, goes high, and it smashed the back end of the car, destroying the back of the car. Luckily, he gets out and walks away. This brings out the safety car. Lap 17, the safety car goes in at the end of the lap, and Sutton gets a really good restart. Last lap, Ingram chases down Sutton, using his hybrid to try and catch him, but nothing comes through as Sutton gets a win again. 2 for 2 so far this weekend. So, your winner is Ash Sutton with the fastest lap. Second is Ingram. Third is Camish. Fourth is Collard. Fifth is Thompson. Sixth is Hill. Seventh is Cook. Eighth is Rowbottom. Ninth is Jelly. 10th is Lloyd. Over to you for race 3, Brad.
Thanks, Ben. So the last race of the year always proves to be eventful, and this one was no exception, as we saw a great start by Jake Hill, who jumped Dan Rowbottom and Josh Cook for second place, with Jelly holding the pack behind him, but without any warning we immediately saw Aidan Moffat retire with a broken wheel, which put him out on the spot. Ingram tried his chances by trying to jump Bobby Thompson and Dan Camish, but couldn't. However, Sutton did get past Ingram before the safety car came out for Moffat's car, which was stranded on track. Josh Cook overtook Jake Hill, which meant that anything could happen on the restart. Despite going out, we did see Moffat start his post-season celebration early, as his girlfriend and mechanic gave him a drink and a hug, so not too bad, eh? Once lap 4 came around, we saw the safety car come in, and on the restart, Cook immediately tried his luck to get past Jelly for the lead. After a few times of trying, he finally got his man and moved up into the lead. Sutton, meanwhile, moved ahead of Camish for 7th, and we saw Aaron Taylor-Smith, who came into the pits with broken suspension. Lap 6 saw Sutton get past Thompson, however the drama was up at the front as Cook and Jelly went into battle once again, swapping the lead of the race one corner after another, which was brilliant to watch. Jelly coming out on top in that particular fight. Lap 7 saw it all kick off as at first we saw Rowbottom and Collard lock horns, which brought Sutton into play. Then Ingram got involved and tagged Dash, sending him off the road into a billboard and collecting some of the sign, dropping him down the order. Then up at the front, we saw a 3-wide scrap for the lead as Jake Gill went up the inside of Cook and Jelly to move himself into the lead of the race. To see all this happen in one lap was pretty unbelievable stuff and very good to watch on TV. Cook was very annoyed and moved himself ahead of Jelly at the start of lap 8. Rowbottom, Collard, Ingram, Thompson and Lloyd all went into combat, which resulted in Thompson getting damaged and dropping down the order. Lap 9 saw George Gamble lock up his brakes and smash straight into Jade Edwards, which put both of them out of the race. This brought out the safety car. However, this all helped Sutton, who, despite being nearly a lap down after pitting for the debris to be removed from his car due to the early contact, helped him catch back up to the pack again on the lead lap, meaning it wasn't over yet. Once the safety car came in on lap 12, it was all go from Jake Hill, who led away at a quick rate of knots. Sutton was immediately up to 17th in half a lap, and Turkington moved up to 13th place. Lap 16 saw Ingram finally move up into 4th place ahead of Dan Rowbottom by diving up the inside of him into turn 1 with a great switchback move. Camish dropped 2 places in a handful of corners on lap 17, which was bad for the manufacturers' race between BMW and Ford, as it gave BMW more points, moving them close to the title. However, up at the front, no one could stop Jake Hill from winning in dominant fashion, with Cook and Jelly rounding out the podium. Eyes were on the rest of the field as the manufacturer's title was decided at the very last moment, with Ford finally managing to take the title ahead of BMW by only 4 points. Sutton came across the line to pick up 13th place, and more crucially the points Ford needed to overhaul BMW. So your race 3 results and the final race results of the year. Jake Hill was your race winner along with the fastest lap, with Josh Cook in 2nd and Stephen Jelly in 3rd. Then we had Ingram in 4th, Rowbottom in 5th, Collard in 6th, Dan Lloyd in 7th, Adam Morgan in 8th, Dan Camish in 9th, and Colin Turkington in 10th. So, I'm probably going to need quite a bit of a breath for this. So, your final driver standings are as follows. Ash Sutton was your champion with 446 points, with Tom Ingram the runner-up on 400. Jake Hill rounds out the top 3 on 372 points, with Colin Turkington in 4th on 312 points. Then we had Josh Cook and Dan Camish in 5th and 6th, along with Dan Rowbottom in 7th. Ricky Collard, Adam Morgan and Rory Butcher round out the top 10. Moving on to 11th to 20th, we saw Aaron Taylor-Smith, Stephen Jelly, Dan Lloyd, Tom Chilton, Andrew Watson, Aidan Moffat, Bobby Thompson, Ronan Pearson, Sam Osborne and Mikey Doble rounding out the second set of the standings. And the final set, George Gamble in 21st ahead of Dexter Patterson, Michael Crees, Nick Hamilton, Daryl DeLeon, Rob Huff, James Gornall, Will Powell and Jack Butel round out the last of the main point scorers, with Nick Halstead and Jade Edwards rounding out the driver standings with -5 due to penalties from earlier in the season. Moving on to your final manufacturer standings, it was Alliance Racing, aka Ford, that took the title with 802 points ahead of BMW. First time BMW has been beaten in, I believe, 8 years, on 798. Accelerate Motorsport, or Hyundai, rounded out the third place spot with 699, nearly 100 ahead of fourth place Toyota on 583. Your final team standings, Napa Racing took the team standings, were the champions for the second year in a row, with Accelerate just eking ahead of BMW on 564 versus 559 points in the standings. Then we had One Motorsport with Starline Racing on 426, who themselves were only 6 ahead of Toyota Gazoo Racing. We then had the Laser Tools Racing Squad in 6th place ahead of Pelmats Racing in 7th. Autobright Direct with Miller's Oils in 8th. Rebeverages and Bartercar with Team Hard in 9th. And Go Fix with Auto A Breakdown in 10th. Your final independent driver standings. Josh Cook was your champion. He was already crowned at Silverstone, but this was the final standings for him. Quite a fair bit ahead, actually 115 points ahead of Aaron Taylor-Smith in second. Dan Lloyd managed to jump Andrew Watson in the end with 357 points versus Watson's 353. Mikey Doble just edged out Aidan Moffat at the end with Dexter Patterson in 7th, Bobby Thompson in 8th, Jack Butel in 9th, Jade Edwards 10th, Michael Crees 11th, Nick Hamilton in 12th, only 1 point behind Crees, Will Parrell in 13th, Darrell DeLeon in 14th, Robert 15th, and James Gornall in 16th to round out the independent driver standings. Your independent team standings, One Motorsport with Starline Racing won that with 536 points, ahead of Power Max Racing, Automatic Direct with Miller's Oils, Rebeverages Bard's with Team Hard, and Go Fix with Auto Aid Breakdown, rounding out those. Moving on to the final Drac Series Trophy standings, it saw Andrew Watson, as Ben was mentioning before. He won that one with 451 points, ahead of his teammate Mikey Doble in second, who himself was tied on points with Dexter Patterson on 422 points. Then we had Sam Osborne in fourth, Ronan Pearson in fifth, Jack Butel sixth, ahead of Nick Halstead, Jade Edwards, Nick Hamilton, Will Powell, Darrell DeLeon, and James Gornall to round out the Jack Sears stuff. The Goodyear Wingfoot Award was won by that man again, Ash Sutton, with 176 points. This was confirmed after Silverstone, but he got the trophy at Brands Hatch. And just to mention a few things finally, records broken or equal by Ash Sutton this season. Sees him become the youngest ever 4-time champion, which is a new record in amongst itself. He obviously ties with Andy Rouse and Colin Turkerton on 4 titles. He's also the first driver to win titles in both front and rear wheel drive cars, which is an amazing statistic. Most poles in a season, that's with 6, but he's tied with James Thompson back in 2003, as alluded to before. And he also ties most wins in a season with Alain Menu back in 1997 with 12 wins. So overall, Ben, for this weekend, can you think of any winners?
Obviously Ash Sutton and Napa Racing. I'd still say like people like Ingram they could take away from this weekend, knowing they gave it their all. You know, didn't give up even on like race 2 where really could have thought, you know what, I'm not really that bothered. You know, like it's done. But no, he still raced to try and go for that important win you always will go for. So I'd definitely say them. Andrew Watson, obviously he gained out of this weekend quite well. He's named to definitely look out for next year. I'd say them are my main picks. There's probably many others I could think of after that, but yeah, they're my main ones right now.
For me, I'd probably pick, other than obviously Sutton, which is obviously congratulations on winning his 4th title. For me, I'd say probably I'd probably go down with 3. I go with Jake Kill, Jade Edwards, and surprisingly, I'm going to say Bobby Thompson as well. 3 reasons why, 1 for each of them. So Jade Edwards was doing pretty decent this weekend. She was actually in 11th before she got took out in race 3, for those that are aware. Proving that once again, just been very unlucky. I think that's the story of the season. In terms of the other ones, though, Jake Hill, he wanted to win desperately at home. He kept saying that he wanted to win at Brands Hatch. I think he has won at Brands Hatch before, but I could be wrong. But apparently he was not feeling well at all on race day. So credit to him for sticking by it and doing really well. He actually did well all year, to be fair. But credit to him for coming through his illness on that one. But yeah, in terms of those two, I didn't do too bad. But in terms of like the last one, Bobby Thompson, he'd been away for a couple of race meetings and didn't do too bad. I mean, obviously, podium in the first race, what more could you ask for? He won the independent side of things for race 2, despite finishing 5th. And his race 3 didn't go as planned, obviously, but yeah, overall, I think you can say he's very proud of himself. And I think he's also, as the ITV Sport guys and other fans of the sport have alluded to, he's sort of like the new. He's like, I mean, there's a lot of speculation. He could be the next Ash Sutton, but in my opinion, he's like another. Funnily enough, speaking of Jake Hill, to me, he feels like another Jake Hill, where at the moment that Cupra is, I'll be honest, it ain't that great in my eyes, but if given better equipment or moving to a more front-running team, I think he would perform like a lot better and would probably get on the podium more consistently, and he'd be up there in qualifying and things like that. Because as he's proved with front-wheel drive cars that he's been in, he's done really well there. So yeah, hats off to him. I think the BTCC as a whole this weekend actually has been pretty decent. So hats off to the sport itself. And obviously, yeah, we crowned a 4-time champion. Granted, the dominance of Napa Racing hasn't made the championship that exciting, but then again, not every season will be. It goes down to the wire like it did last year. And it's fair to say that Ingram's just not had as much luck as Sutton has this year. I think you'll probably agree with me there, Ben.
Yeah, definitely. The same could be said for Jake Hill, really. I mean, Jake Hill, a lot of the ones where some of it was his own driving errors, but he's still like one of them people where I still class him as very young, so he's got a lot to just sort of get through, like he's even said on other like podcasts and stuff, like he has a lot more that he wants to go through in life, and so I can see him still getting there. But yeah, definitely them two have had not the best of luck this year.
No, I think another one that I should give mention to, who also drives for Napa, is Dan Camish, because he looked like he was in a pretty good form when he kicked things off with them 2 wins at the start of the year, and we thought, oh, maybe he'll chance for a title along with Sutton, and obviously Ingram will put up a fight. And originally I thought after the first half of the year that Napa would just fly away from it, and they kind of have done, but the fact that Ingram's kept him honest and Hill kept him as honest as they did, I think it got summed up by Paul O'Neill, I think, during the live broadcast, which was, had Jake Hill and Tom Ingram not been there in the championship, this championship would have been wrapped up at Silverstone and it would have been dead. It would have been so boring. And I can agree with that statement, to be honest. It's credit to the competition for making the fight more interesting than it actually would have been. That's not saying that it hasn't been completely dominant by Napa or Sutton as a whole, because it has. But yeah, will we see Sutton come back even stronger next year? Who knows? Will he get a 5th title? Who knows? But records are meant to be broken, and he has broken. That team as a whole has broken so many this year. It's been ridiculous. But yeah, on that front though, we are going to wrap this up here. Let us know what your thoughts were on this weekend's meeting. Were you there? If you were, let us know down in the comments, and let us know what you thought as a whole. We will be back within the next couple of weeks with our season review, which is going to be a lot longer, probably around 40 to 50 minutes. So if you're interested in that, stick around, as we'll try and cover anything and everything regarding highlights, good moments, bad moments, you name it. We're going to talk about it. So until that comes around, thank you very much for watching these race reviews all year. Thank you for your continued support. And yeah, let us know, like I said, if you enjoyed these. If you think we can improve the format in any way, let us know. And yeah, we will catch you all in the next video, whatever that may be. Might be the season review, might be something else, who knows. But yeah, stick around, and yeah, until next time, thank you for watching. Have yourselves a great rest of your day or evening, wherever you are in the world, and we'll see you all again very soon. So until then, ta-ra.
Bye.